Hey, this is HQ. This is Saturday morning, the 21st. Mm, I've been up since like 4 a.m. Of course, I've been rolling and whatnot, right? And I was just sitting here thinking, when I got done, uh, playing a video of Jay Paul. I can't never say that name, Jay Paul. I was just thinking I was just thinking about that damn Donald Trump and that celebration of Black History, celebration of Black History Month in the Oval Office on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday or Monday? I don't even know. And I was like, I heard the message behind the scenes that they really didn't want him to do that. They were trying to get rid of all black things, and specifically with Stephen Miller, who didn't want it to be done, and the monsters in the pit, all the monsters that be in the pit. See, I look at the Republican Party as a certain type of party. I get it. All of them are on different levels. Both parties are on different levels, right? So this is how I look at it. At the top is people like Donald Trump. In the middle is people like Stephen Miller that are the worker bees. They ain't gonna be nothing but worker bees, and their views are too extreme to be in the main category. So they pull the strings of the rich people. So Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, and then down in the pits is the MAGA, the ones that are underground, the ones that don't matter, the ones that keep eating the red meat that Donald Trump throws down there. That's MAGA down there in the pit. So when you go over to the pit of the Republican Party, you hear all of them. Oh, we done with that woke stuff. We done with them black people. We done with apologizing for being racist. We done with our ancestors apologizing for our ancestors being racist. We done with that. So we don't have to celebrate jack shit. We don't have to celebrate black history. We don't have to celebrate jack shit. I don't know why you doing that. So when Stephen Miller came to apparently, I don't know whether it's rumor, but it's rumored. Stephen Miller came to Donald Trump talking about why you doing a Black History Month. Donald Trump was like, shut your ass up. Sit down in the corner because I'm finna do this Black History Month. Because we need our constituents. Had nothing to do with the fact that he wanted to do, and he had black people on his staff and whatnot. In his cabinet, that one retard doctor. But he had people in his corner, so he had to do it. He didn't want to do it, he had to do it. So this is the way I look at what happened over there, because if you look at the way Donald Trump was responding on that Black History celebration, he didn't have a speech. He really didn't want to say jack shit. And I don't believe him anyway. Only somebody who wants to fool themselves into believing that Donald Trump gives a damn about black people. You can fool yourself. You can't fool HQ. God gave me a discerning eye. God gave me the ability to turn off my emotions. God gave me the ability to live with being emotionless most of my life. So therefore I can stand back pretty confidently most times and read people's emotions. And he was able to give me college degrees where I understand why people say the things they say. I can pretty much sniff them out by saying certain things. So I can sniff out when somebody don't care about something or they do care about something. I can tell Donald Trump doesn't care about black Americans. It has nothing to do with what he does. He's just not the type of person that would concern himself. The percentages to care about black people are not there. So, and that's why I was doing this video, simply because he started to remove the black things that were a part of history. He don't believe the bullshit. He don't believe any of the bullshit about white people being replaced. He's heard all of that garbage from that retard Stephen Miller. He's heard that from people on his staff. How did we end up being able to get how did all the retards and the rejects that were pushed to the edge of the existence, like the retard national Christian nationalists, the degenerate Stephen Millers, how do we get all those people uh, within Trump's orbit? We got him in within Trump's orbit because he said there were fine people on both sides, and that gave them the license, gave all those rejects from society permission to come out of the darkness and say, hey, maybe he'll enjoy me in his cabinet, right? So this is what we got. And I don't believe he even thought one thing about black people for him to be saying some of the stuff that he's saying. But I do know that he's a racist human being, because when you start to remove parts of people's history, okay, you can't tell me he's not aware of this. So when you start to remove the parts of people's history, it doesn't feel like it's a policy thing. It feels like you're trying to remove or erase the people. You're trying to erase the people. And we as African Americans are watching these programs disappear, watching diversity efforts get dismantled, hearing talk about weakening the Civil Rights Act, and seeing monuments being taken down, and black leaders statues taken down, and museums losing support, and hearing that slavery is being framed as harmonious. The relationship between the slave owner and slave is harmonious. Where the fuck y'all get that from? I don't know. One of those low-level ministers, Christian nationalist ministers. That ain't Christianity. That's hate wrapped up in a fucking religious flag. You better watch that. It doesn't seem as though you care for black people when you do those kind of things. It's a personal thing. Black history is not something that we just read about. It's something that we lived, and it's something that we came from. You can't whitewash that. For us, history is not ancient history. It's recent history. Slavery ended only a few generations ago. Okay? Segregation was alive in my parents' lifetime. The civil rights movement is not a fairy tale. The civil rights movement was just a couple years older than I am. It's not a fairy tale. There are still people alive who marched, who were beaten, who were denied the basic rights, who saw black and white water fountains. So when this country starts softening the history, treating it like it's too uncomfortable to talk about, because that's the problem right there. The problem is that a bunch of white people feel uncomfortable about what their ancestors did, and now they don't want to talk about it. Now they just want to erase it like it never happened. No, we don't want our kids to feel guilty for their ancestors. Your kids don't have to be, white kids don't have to feel guilty. That's all you have to do is acknowledge it. Acknowledge it and embrace it. Acknowledge it and say, hey, this is what our ancestors did to yours. But this is not something that I'm on board with. This is not something that I would like to do. I don't want to go back to that time. I want us to stand on equal ground. That's all that is needed to be said. But every time we bring up race, it's like you guys just want to be. So it's like you have an ingrained sense of superiority as a white person, and you don't know that you have that. Because a lot of racists will say, "Oh no, we ain't racist," but you have an ingrown thought that you're better. It's an inherent thought that you're better. You have to face that inherent thought. You have to face that instinctual thought that you're better. As soon as you get past the fact that you think you're better, and it's not that you automatically get up every morning as a white person and say, I'm better, I'm better, I'm better. No. It's just ingrained in the society, ingrained in other people, and you just go along with it. Because you don't know no different. Instead of fighting against it, you go along with it. None of this would be happening if it wasn't okay with good white people. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's get back to what I was talking about. So when people start throwing out history, throwing out statues and art and stuff like that because white people think it's too uncomfortable to talk about. You're not editing a book or something like that. That's not what you're doing. You're trying to say that part of you is too much for me to talk about. That part of you is too painful for me to look at. That part of you, we don't want to look at you, so get into a corner. That's what it feels like when you try to erase me or my people. Okay, and I try to explain to the Hispanic people this week, just because it didn't happen to you, just because you're not getting thrown in a cage doesn't mean it's not happening to your people that look like you, came from where you came from, and have the same experiences, who have the same families, who have the same values. You should care about those people. This is a sad thing that I have to wake up and people are trying to close museums that have my people who look like me in them. Black history is just not about it being painful history. It's about strength. It's about building churches, building wealth, starting businesses when banks wouldn't give you money, creating music, art, culture, movements that shape this culture, that shape this country. It's about surviving things that were designed to break me, break my ancestors. And we survived that. So when someone says, tone it down, we don't want to talk about, y'all always talking about race, y'all always bringing it up. It's like you don't want to hear about the resilience. It's like you're scared of hearing the obstacles that we went over, that you're embarrassed or fearful. I don't know. I don't understand any of that. How you feel as a white person. I don't understand. Okay. I don't understand. History protects people. When the truth is fully told, it makes it harder to repeat the mistakes. If you want to whitewash Black history, which is American history, it could be repeated all over again. When slavery is taught correctly, when segregation is taught correctly, when discrimination is taught correctly, society understands what not to do and what not to go back to. But when you water down those stories and you tell the lies about those stories, people worry that those lessons get watered down too. And I get it that people are tired. They get exhausted. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to do it. Because a lot of Blacks feel like we done progressed. And if we and progress is followed by pushback. Slavery ends, then comes Jim Crow. Civil rights laws passed, then new barriers pop up. Doors open, and then some doors quietly close again. So when policies start being rolled back, programs start getting rolled back that were meant to address the inequalities that we had, it can feel like the same old path. We're going back to the beginning. We're going back where we got to fight again. When I tell people, I say to them, are we equal now? If we're equal now with civil rights and DEI in place, what makes you think we're going to be equal and okay if you take those things away? Won't we be back? Won't we fall back into another pattern? Won't we fall back if you get rid of it? And we won't be equal? I don't understand. But some people who support these changes say they just want fairness, support taking things out of the museums, support taking these displays down. They just want equality. They say they want everybody to be treated the same. They say race shouldn't matter anymore. Then it shouldn't matter to you white folks. But it's going to take generations it's going to take white folks fighting against the condition that they have already had all of their life to look at themselves as this is their world and everybody else walk around in it. Now, Donald Trump has people in his White House that feel like they're superior than Black people. There's no way that Pete Hegseth should have invited that Christian nationalist priest or minister to the White House and shit on those people that were in that crowd, saying the the relationship between slave and slave owner was harmonious. What kind of shit was that? Okay. What kind of shit was that? I don't get it. But here's where we have the problem. It's where the tension is, right? If you start from unequal ground and then say from now on everyone runs the same race, that doesn't automatically fix what happened before. It just freezes whatever advantage or disadvantage that's already there, that already exists. This isn't just a political argument. It's about lived experiences. Being erased doesn't always mean someone shouts, "You don't matter." Sometimes it's quieter. It's when funding leaves HBCUs. It's when they had 100 Black American courses, now they only got 3. It's when you try to take down the Tuskegee Airmen displays. Okay. When the story of slavery is shortened or softened so people feel more comfortable, or you take certain books out of the library and certain books are not taught in the schools. It sends a message, even if that was not the intent. And the message can feel like your story is negotiable. Your story is unimportant. That's a hard pill to swallow. But here's something equally important. Black history has survived worse than curriculums getting shortened, displays getting taken down, museums getting shut down, funding getting taken away, 100 classes to 3 classes. It survived through oral stories, through family memories, through all churches, all of these things. You cannot erase what built this country. You cannot shrink it. You can't redirect. You cannot erase the truth that African Americans helped build this country economically, culturally, politically, and spiritually, and morally. So how should I feel as a Black American person if I see people taking things out of museums, shortening the curriculum, shortening the money, funding dried up? I feel angry. Okay. I feel hurt and determined, right? But here's what matters the most. Feeling erased does not mean we are erased. Getting erased does not mean we didn't exist or people didn't exist. The history don't live in these governmental decisions. Only it lives in the families, in the churches, in the communities, in books, in memories. Here's the deeper truth, though. The fight over history is really a fight over identity. It's about who gets centered in this national story. We should be right there along with everybody else. It's about whose struggle is acknowledged. Ours should be acknowledged. It is what it is. It's about whose contribution is valued. Nobody's contribution is more valued or should be more valued. No community wants to feel invisible. I don't want to feel invisible. Okay? Like I said, Donald Trump hired all of the rejects and the degenerates that would deny slavery, that would deny Black rights, that would deny the contribution that Black people made to this country. Okay. So history is not just something that's written down, it's something that's carried forward. So we need to make sure that our children and our grandchildren understand our history. And the truth is, you cannot build a strong country by pretending that part of it did not happen. You just can't. You cannot heal what you refuse to see and what you refuse to name and what you refuse to address. And you can't move honestly forward. This country can't move forward anyway. We brought a lot of flavor to this country. If you're uncomfortable with the past, you need to figure out how it shaped you and live with it. That's why this conversation matters. Black lives do matter, but because it's not because it's political. This is not a political thing. It's about the dignity of the thing. And dignity is not something that somebody can give me. It's something I refuse to let go, right? We're not going to let go of our history just because you decide to kick it out of out of the universities and the museums and the White House. We see what you did. We see what you tried to erase. We see that. No, you're not going to make us disappear. We're not going anywhere. This is our country too. And the native people, the Indian people, I'm sure if they would have had a choice to pick you guys or us, they'd pick us every time of the week. You all came here after them. They would pick us every time, every day of the week. But it is what it is. So this was just my rant about trying to get erased, or Donald Trump trying to erase us, and that fake bullshit ass African American celebration that you had in the White House. I said it at the time, and I say it now. Fake and a fraud. The scammer is a fake and a fraud.